So, welcome to AP English. Today we're going to read Thomas Carlyle on heroes, hero worship, and the heroic in history. We come now to the last form of heroism, that which we call kingship. The commander over men, he to whose will our wills are to be subordinated, and loyally surrender themselves, and find their welfare in doing so, may be reckoned the most important of great men. He is practically the summary for us of all the various figures of heroism, priest, teacher, whatsoever of earthly or of spiritual dignity we can fancy to reside in a man, embodies itself here to command over us, to furnish us with constant practical teaching, to tell us for the day and hour what we are to do. He is called Rex, Regulation, Roy. Our own name is still better, King, Cunning, which means canning, able man. Numerous considerations pointing towards deep, questionable, and indeed unfathomable regions present themselves here, on the most of which we must resolutely for the present forbear to speak at all. As Burke said, that perhaps fair trial by jury was the soul of government, and that all legislation, administration, parliamentary debating, and the rest of it went on in order to bring 12 impartial men into a jury box. So, by much stronger reason, may I say here that the finding of your able man and getting him invested with the symbols of ability, with dignity, worship, royalty, kinghood, or whatever we call it, so that he may actually have room to guide according to his faculty of doing it, is the business, well or ill accomplished, of all social procedure whatsoever in this world. Hustings, speeches, parliamentary motions, reform bills, French revolutions, all mean at heart this, or else nothing. Find in any country the ablest man that exists there, raise him to the supreme place, and loyally reverence him. You have a perfect government for that country. No ballot box, parliamentary eloquence, voting, constitution building, or other machinery whatsoever can improve it a whit. It is in the perfect state, an ideal country, the ablest man. He means also the truest hearted, justest, the noblest man. What he tells us to do must be precisely the wisest, fittest that we could anywhere anyhow learn. The thing which it will in all ways behoove us, with right loyal thankfulness and nothing doubting, to do. Our doing and life were then, so far as government could regulate it, well regulated. That were the ideal of constitutions. Alas, we know very well that ideals can never be completely embodied in practice. Ideals must ever lie a very great way off, and we will right thankfully content ourselves with any not intolerable approximation thereto. Let no man, as Schiller says, too querulously measure by a scale of perfection the meager product of reality. In this poor world of ours, we will esteem him no wise man. We will esteem him a sickly, discontented, foolish man. And yet, on the other hand, it is never to be forgotten that ideals do exist, that if they be not approximated to at all, the whole matter goes to wreck infallibly. No bricklayer builds a wall perfectly perpendicular. Mathematically, this is not possible. A certain degree of perpendicularity suffices him, and he, like a good bricklayer, who must have done with his job, leaves it so. And yet, if he sway too much from the perpendicular, above all, if we throw, plummet, and level quite away from him, and pile brick on brick heedless, just as it comes to hand. Such bricklayer, I think, is in a bad way. He has forgotten himself, but the law of gravitation does not forget to act on him. He and his wall rush down into confused welter of ruin. This is the history of all rebellions, French revolutions, social explosions in ancient or modern times. You have put the two unable men at the head of affairs. The two ignoble, unvaliant, fatuous men. You have forgotten that there is any rule or natural necessity whatever of putting the able man there. Brick must lie on brick as it may and can, unable simulacrum of ability. Quack, in a word, must adjust himself with quack in all manner of administration of human things, which accordingly lie unadministered, fermenting into unmeasured masses of failure, of indigent misery. In the outward and in the inward or spiritual, miserable millions stretch out the hand for their due supply, and it is not there. The law of gravitation acts. Nature's laws do none of them forget to act. The miserable millions burst forth into sansculottism or some other sort of madness. Bricks and bricklayer lie as a fatal chaos.